Did you get it out of the truck? Okay.
Oh, yeah, Seth helped me.
Oh, yeah.
I just decided to.
It's not that heavy, really. I'd say it's probably 60 pounds, maybe 50, 60 pounds.
Oh, yeah, that's better.
Dee's supposed to be here too, isn't she?
I was thinking Gary should be here. I mean, he's been collecting all the plastic.
Right, yes.
And Linda's coming in, so save us some for Linda.
Okay.
Hey.
And then I'm bolting to go home and have supper because I have to eat lunch today.
What about the poor dog you're supposed to
You
let?
decided if you want to...
Well, yesterday, he wouldn't even come downstairs to let me.
Yes.
Oh.
That's the question.
So
You did decide.
I said, I'll check on when I get
No, I'm just
home.
asking if you decided.
What you get when you don't come downstairs and talk to me.
I'm just talking about...
It's my next door neighbor.
She said we had exactly 3
I do it for nothing, so.
Training burn. So he was.
Well, we had chair and vice chair.
Yeah, it's like at that point, it's
One
like,
24-hour shift in training burn, like.
oh god, you're ready to
20
be like
years ago,
just dial up tones.
3
Yeah,
years
that's
ago.
horrible.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, well, I'm tired too because I started watching training things and he couldn't stop until 1 a.m. And he's like, that's a little
Yeah.
tired.
But we're tired.
Good.
It's still tired.
Tired's tired, yeah.
1 a.m. I had to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
6:30 to go to the chiropractor.
Understand?
Good. Oh, that's the most important.
It's your choice to be a firefighter, so yeah.
She's
Yeah,
we all choices in the world.
That's a long freaking day though, oh my god.
I know.
Not even a day, it's over day.
doing some stuff up there. One of the things that she worked on real hard was her back.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
important.
Last week, so I was like, lovely. That was lovely after a shift, right? No, thanks.
No, no, I
Try it
can
out.
Well,
exhausted.
Try it out.
tell Don to get
It's pretty comfortable.
Usually he's been sleeping on it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the margins are good.
It's really between the...
I believe you.
I thought for sure that was the new.
Position.
I learned very early on not to sit between
Nice
my
friendship.
child and
Yeah, that's...
Good, thanks.
I usually only see you from the truck window. I think that's.
Yeah.
Is that the new hot seat?
Yeah, that's what I said. I thought that was your new seat, Nicole, like with the budget table, you know?
That'd be fun.
I still think you need.
Thank you.
That's okay.
What?
Oh, sorry.
We're gonna change that.
I'm here for downtown visioning stuff.
That's right, yes. Let's get some flack online, huh?
Yeah, I'm staying as far away as I can.
Well, you kind of have to, to
Yeah.
keep your sanity, right?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Seth gave me a heads up and I tried to find it one day and I couldn't find it, so I was like, it's a good thing.
Oh, really? Yeah, I feel like there was like one day, just like
That was
a
close.
4 hour period where that was like wherever. It was literally the moment that the
If
universe.
I had to hit you.
Oh, it was like
right
4 hours following.
It's
Because people were not like, what? You know, so it was like that's what.
Spending my money,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so that was what I think is, that was right.
They made me
That's about right, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a good thing to come all out on one day.
Yep.
Get it all over with.
That was the goal, yeah.
Although I just want to say my.
You're all.
Yeah.
Where's the bench located?
Well, that's to be decided.
But don't you have a plan? I heard you did.
Yeah, we hopefully have a plan, but what we're trying to do is find a spot where it's gonna be really useful, number one, really in the public eye, number two. Number three, hopefully somewhere along the
Swing on,
common pathway.
pick a spot anywhere. Downtown in the south side.
People go out and walk and they get to the point where they may
That's what I
want
just wondered.
to take a break and sit down.
But the news is
Right?
So like that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I just.
Visible.
yeah.
Free lunch?
Because it's section.
Yep, on Summer Street, kind of in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah. up?
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. It's June 7th. We have Bill Kennedy and Bill Taylor at the table with me. I'm Kyle Ward. Also, Town Administrator McStay and Ally Kreutz, Assistant to the Town Administrator. We have Seth MacLean here, Assistant Town Administrator / Department of Public Works Director. Is here. He's going to run us through some things. We had a non-public session. Somebody remind me to make a vote on those minutes in a moment. And Seth is going to bring us up to date, and we'll discuss the acceptance of a donated bench for the common pathway, authorization to apply for ARPA grant to fund culvert replacement. That's exciting. Recommendation to award engineering services contract for downtown visioning project and streetscaping design. I know that's been in the works for some time. And then for new business, authorize town administrator to sign US EDA grant for Cold Stone Springs funding. Vote to approve revolving fund budgets for FY23. Vote to approve encumbrance up to $450,000 from FY2022. And vote to approve expenditure from trust funds. That's the Landfill Pollution Abatement Fund, Reclamations Capital Reserve Fund, and Police Fleet Capital Reserve Fund. Also, we'll vote to accept a donation of monies for Bocelli Gardens in memory of Mafalda Ames Bocelli. And then we'll review a review of a request to hold a raffle. Oh, right, we're giving out a permit for a raffle for the Peterborough Unitarian Universalist Church. We'll vote to reappoint some members to committees, and then vote to approve some minutes for May 17th. We're going to get all that done in 47 minutes.
I think we can do it.
No. We are on air tonight on Comcast Channel 22, Ustream by the town's website, and also YouTube. And then all these meetings will be archived for future reference. Anybody who would like to speak, we'll glad to hear from you. Please raise your hand when I'll call on you. Just state your name for the record, even though we all know each other. Up first, I would like to make a motion that we seal the minutes from our non-public.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's out of the way. Seth, hot seat.
Thank you. For those that don't know me, my name is Seth MacLean. I'm the Director of Public Works. Actually, on bullet point number 1, donated bench, it's really simple. Actually, this is the Roland Patton show on this one. I don't really have much work to do yet on that.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen, ladies, public. Approximately 6 months ago, we started collecting Trex bags. Now, if you don't know what a Trex bag is, when you go to Shaw's, you go to most any place that has a plastic bag, that's Trex. The wrappers that are on your bread are Trex. So we've been collecting that for 5-6 months now, with the idea of collecting 500 pounds. Now, it doesn't sound like much when you say 500 pounds, but if you try to put it in your pickup truck and take it home, you'd be overloaded. It's huge. You have a box out here by the town clerk's office. We empty that probably, every 2 weeks? And it generates probably 10 pounds every 2 weeks. So, anyway, this is the result. The company takes that 500 pounds of Trex, turns it into a Trex bench, which we are donating to the town of Peterborough, with the hope that the town of Peterborough will accept it, and we'll put it somewhere along the common pathway. A nice view of the river would be good. If it can't be, it can't be, but we would like to make sure that Peterborough has this. We do want to put a plaque on it that says donated by the Peterborough Lions Club. If I'm going too fast, we want to know. Basically, we have generated almost enough Trex to get it on the bench. So. And we haven't voted on it yet through the Lions Club, but I think that may be donated to the town also. So that's the story. I don't want to take any more of your time. I know you've got 47 minutes to run the meeting, so
We're like
I'll make sure. If you get questions, any questions, I'd like to be able to answer them for you.
I do. Sorry, did you mention that Does the Lions Club pay any money towards the bench, or it's simply from the donations of?
It's simply from our club has been, we've got a collection point here in the townhouse, at the camera shop, down at the recycling center,
The
Community center.
Oh, in the
and at the community center.
I've hit 3 of the 4 with maybe a couple pounds myself.
So, yeah, that's where we're working through, and like I said, I believe that we are pretty close to another 300 or 400 pounds, so it won't be too long before we have another bench.
That's great.
So Roland, what do we need to do to secure the bench?
That's a good idea. Yeah, basically what you need is a small cement platform with anchor bolts in it. Seth can probably answer that better than I can, but you put the anchor bolts in the cement, I'll let it dry there, and then you drill a hole through this leg, and bolt it down. Now, we understand that there probably will be some damage to it, but it won't wind up in the river, hopefully. That's
I
our,
wanted somebody's back here.
yeah.
Very nice.
The only thing is just to officially accept it, the town will have to, the select board will have to hold a public hearing. So we'll get that scheduled for later this summer.
Oh, really?
Yes, yes, really.
And people will have.
To accept any gift.
Yeah.
So we'll miss a whole season of sitting on the bench.
No, you'd be able to put it out, you know, in anticipation. I think I think the Lions Club will allow that, I would hope.
Well, it's a gift, so of course. We have 2 or 3 Lions Club members. Anybody want to say anything regarding this?
I want to ask Seth, this would be something that the DPW would participate in, or are you guys going to do the work?
Oh, I think the DPW should make sure it's done right.
I think it's a great opportunity to partner with a local civic organization where we can partner up, we can do the labor, we can do the install, and we can take care of the maintenance if there is any in the future. I also, just for the record, think it's an outstanding opportunity for the community to look for, like as Roland and I have talked sort of offline, great opportunity for us to look at an expansion of our recycling center down the road, say if there's ever a jumping off point or an opportunity to team with the Lions Club. We have a huge collection center. This is an unbelievable and practical way to use an otherwise unusable product. And I would certainly be all in favor of devoting some staff resources to trying to figure out a way to bring more of these into town if we can partner up on that.
Good answer.
It's a really nice looking bench.
And you're willing to come take a try, see how comfortable it is?
We've already done that.
Where's the pillow?
You don't need one.
So do we need a motion for this?
If you like, it's not necessary. We can, again.
We'll just schedule the public hearing.
Let's do that, yeah. Great idea.
Thank you,
Whoever
Robert.
came up with it, and, yeah, thank you so much.
It's also a good way to, you know, broadcast recycling. Turn a bunch of trash into something.
Well, it's something that, it's a return for your efforts for recycling, is the way I look at it. And that's a plus.
Certainly. Yeah, very good. And a relief to us that throw away these bags endlessly, knowing we can't do anything with them now.
Now you know you can.
Excellent. All right, who else has some good news for us? What's next?
I think I'm still next,
Oh, good. Seth.
although I wasn't really first. The authorization to apply for ARPA funding, so it came to the town's attention not quite a month ago at this point that through the American Rescue Plan Act, $1 million has been made available to the state of New Hampshire through New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services for what's called the Culvert Flood Risk Assistance Grants program. So this gives us the opportunity to apply for a 100% grant for any location in town where we see a perceived risk of threat, we know a perceived risk of flooding, or have had other culvert issues. We know of 4 locations presently that are in need of some substantial repair. One is on Pine Street. As we plan out our larger road program up there, we've encountered a little bit of a snag with a relatively old piece of private, unfortunately, drainage that connects to a public culvert, which we needed to put some time and effort and some engineering into. There's another location on Prospect Street where we had some washout last summer with the rains. Another location on Old Dublin Road and one of them is escaping me off the, so the three, but the fourth I didn't mention as part of this would actually hopefully be TIF funded in the future, and it's on Howard's Bridge Road, but that'll be part of our visioning that we get into later in the year. And of course, we have the availability of some TIF funding for that. So at this point, all we're looking for is the board to authorize probably myself and Nicole to apply for those grants. We'd still have to come back to you for the acceptance of those grants if we were awarded those. And my intent is to get those applications in with your approval before July 1st for Pine Street, Prospect Street, and Old Dublin Road. And this would apply to, for engineering, which we do need in a couple of these locations, all the way up through physical construction of the asset.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yes.
I make a motion to authorize Seth and Nicole to apply for ARPA grants for culverts.
I second it.
Excellent. Anybody have anything to add from the audience? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Great.
We lost our agenda here, but I think...
Yeah, I don't know what happened to the projector just gave up.
Yeah, it's yellow now, actually.
Yeah.
Well, the next item was our next steps on downtown visioning. This is probably a better jumping off point for Danica, and I can fill in the blanks there if you want to just go ahead and kind of give an overview on that program.
Right, welcome Danica Malone, town planner.
Thank you. Yeah, so some of you guys might have gotten your postcard. Hopefully all of you have gotten a postcard that we're doing some downtown visioning this year in a small area of the downtown. The reason for that is because the Greater Downtown TIF adopted a plan back in 2012 which identified several projects, one of them being streetscaping and beautification, pedestrian bicycle access in that center town, Lower Main Street area. So part of that is that we need to contract engineering services to make sure that whatever is the outcome of this visioning process, more, we want it to be representative of community feedback and meet our budget, but we most importantly need them to make sure that whatever the outcome is meets local, state, and federal regulation. And so we went out to bid with a, or not out to bid, we put out a qualifications-based selection seeking engineering services. We received 2 responses over the past month, and we are now recommending that this selection be awarded to Hoyle Tanner. And I can answer more questions if you're curious.
And for people that don't remember, Hoyle Tanner's been very involved with the town. They've done some work on this type of project as well, but also the Union Street reconstruction, and then has worked heavily with the town on the Main Street Bridge and Grand Street project.
And the Riverwalk parking lot as well. And so that's actually going to be a little bit, it's just at the edge of the project area, so it's actually going to be kind of nice if they're awarded to see them kind of finish out their project there and connect it into the downtown visioning project.
So are we actually going to all eventually find out what that little paved circle is for next to the bus stop? Like, are we going to get the answer to that?
That might be a sub question.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, yes, that's all. End of discussion. We'll leave the anticipation for that. Anybody else have a question?
I've got a couple, well, one thing, you do have a visioning intro tomorrow at the library at 6 p.m.?
It's actually in here at 6 p.m.
Oh.
and it's also going to be streamed on the Ustream and Comcast Channel 22.
Okay.
There's going to be a second info session Thursday, June 23rd, I believe. In case you miss it, that'll also be streamed as well. And we're inviting a lot of the downtown stakeholders, mainly all business owners, to come to a stakeholder breakfast at the library in the 1833 room, Tuesday, June 21st at 8 a.m. So lots of opportunity to give feedback or just learn about the process. But once we do the actual visioning process, which is a sort of a 3-day charrette style, there will be also a virtual accommodation for that as well. So you can also give all the feedback you want virtually.
Now, this is the only section of town that we're actually doing visioning for this year?
This, for the Greater Downtown TIF, yes. Last fall, we did some visioning around South Peterborough TIF projects. Seth mentioned it a second ago on Powers Bridge Road, as well as Morrison Road. In that area, Old Sharon Bridge over the Kentucky River. So we did some visioning around that, and I think right now we're still waiting for some engineering information on that stuff. So we should be meeting with the South Peterborough TIF probably later this summer to talk about what the outcome is.
But it's pretty much narrowly focused on Depot Street.
Correct. Yeah, and so again, the reason for that is because there's identified projects in that plan that they want to get done. At the same time, DPW has some projects planned as well that kind of lend the opportunity for this, like paving in the downtown. So if they're going to be opening up roads, that kind of lends the opportunity to do things like bike lanes if that's an outcome.
And there are sections of town on either side of that selected
Correct.
section
Mhm.
that need attention very
Mhm.
badly, particularly Lower Main.
Yes,
right
yep,
Across from Roy's and Andrews or Centertown.
yep.
But those won't be included in this particular.
Oh, no, they will be. So
Oh, they
actually,
will?
yeah, so the projects that are identified in that TIF plan, the number one project that we're kind of spearheading is actually named the Lower Main Street Centertown project.
Okay, good.
So it's focused, it's core on that area, but there's also some other projects which are the comprehensive parking approach, which looks at brick and mortar, how our parking lots and on-street parking are working, but also could a shuttle be a solution to the parking issue, which might tie in that, the bus station at the Riverwalk lot, but and also.
Finally a use. I go sit in there all the time.
Oh, perfect, there you go. And the other project that is up for some consideration is, I forget the name, but utility line management, I believe is the
Right.
title.
Right.
So kind of along the corridor of School Street to Depot Street. There was a plan to try and bury the lines there. I'm not sure if that might be feasible in the next 5 to 10 years, but we'll be considering that in the visioning process. Yep.
Good. So Hoyle Tanner would be looking at those areas as well when they're doing their engineering studies.
Correct. So how it would work is that we would do kind of a pre-meeting with the engineering firm to talk about what the outreach process is going to be so that they're in the loop with what we're going to be trying to solicit for feedback. Once we have all of the feedback, we'll regroup with another meeting with Hoyle and Tanner to kind of go over, this is the core information that people would like to see. How can we incorporate this into the downtown, into the DPW's maintenance plan and projects plan in a way that, like I said, is highly representative of community feedback, meets our budget, but also meets all of the regulations that we need to make sure it meets.
Coordination is important.
Yep, and so and the last piece to that is that this whole project needs to be wrapped up by the end of the year. So we'll have a final presentation of how this looks at some point before
Perfect.
the end of it, yep.
All right.
So we need a motion to,
Motion to award the contract to Hoyle Tanner Associates.
so moved.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
And one more comment, and then I'll have to let Ron say something. So, just to be clear, this will be mostly paid for by downtown TIF, tax increment finance zone, collected monies, and/or grant money.
The downtown TIF visioning process right now?
Yes.
Correct. So the majority is going to be funded, well, is already funded. We've been awarded a Monadnock Alliance for Sustainable Transportation, or a MAST grant for $30,000. The Greater Downtown TIF also allocated an additional $20,000 to put a portion towards the engineering services, but another smaller chunk is towards the materials, renting spaces, et cetera.
And that went through the whole approval process
did.
of the advisory and the EDA?
Yep, I went up and down, yep.
So for anybody that's watching that isn't quite familiar with a TIF district and how it's funded, the money is collected from property owners that have improved their properties over the years, and that increased valuation of the property. Taxation is captured into this TIF fund for a specified area around downtown, and then that money is used for such projects.
Exactly.
Right. So it's not going to affect homeowners' tax
Nope.
rates
Nope.
later on.
Absolutely not, yep.
And then, but we all get to enjoy it.
Yep. Precisely.
Right. Excellent. Ron? Yes.
Ron McIntyre. Just a point of clarification, these 3 meetings, is the same material going to be basically covered in each of the 3 meetings, or will one meeting build upon the other? So if I'm an interested citizen, should I just plan to attend one of the meetings, or might I be better advised to attend all 3?
I think all 3 will be fairly the same, but I do have the thought in the back of my head that there might be some build on if there's questions that come up and I want to add a slide in to make sure it's clarified. Regardless, the slideshow will be posted on the website so that you can see what the final product is. And I was planning on posting as well an FAQ that comes out of those meetings as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is that information going to be at the projects info site or on the main?
It's
page?
on the main site, and so that postcard that went out as well as the door hangers will point you to www.tinyurl.com/downtown2022. and that'll take you to a webpage on the town website that has all of the information for this. It'll have the slideshow, it'll have the FAQ, and it also has agendas for that 3-day charrette, as well as the link to the virtual charrette as well.
Cool.
Yep.
Does it affect the parking lot? Municipal parking lot?
Not so much. We might look at it in terms of some beautification, maybe for some street trees in there. Other public amenities, maybe benches or a picnic table. So we'll have some consideration for it, but I'm not sure we'll really, really change the municipal parking lot too much.
It does need a little bit of attention.
Mhm.
Okay. Excellent. All good, everybody? Anyone else?
I'd like to add something real quick, if I could. You touched on it, Tyler, because you asked about the funding source, but I do think that it is worth mentioning that Danica actually, I had tried for this grant years ago and was unsuccessful in it. We were denied through Southwest Regional, but Danica, through her work, was successful, and she worked with one of our staff members, Julie, to get us that $30,000 as a community, and I think she's doing fine work, and it should be reflected in the minutes.
Nice.
That's great.
Yeah, thank you for reminding us of that. And thank you. So which one of you is going to tell us about the Cold Stone Springs funding?
That's
grant?
me.
Oh,
Yeah.
excellent.
This is really more clerical than anything else. The US EDA has been taking its time to consider Jaffrey's application, which they've had on their desk for well over a year at this point. But they're finally, the person who was working on it retired, and it moved on to a younger, more energetic person, and it's finally getting some motion. So one of the things that came up as this new person was putting their eyes to it was that the property and the project are going to be co-owned by Jaffrey and Peterborough. So they would like to see Peterborough also as an applicant on the application. We will not be receiving any funds. It does not give us a direct benefit, but it does give us a substantial add-on benefit. Not only is the project going to be able to move forward with this additional over $3 million, $3.14 million, but also we will be able to get that larger grant from the Drinking Water Trust Fund that we've been moving forward with since this past winter. It's good work. So just looking for authorization to sign on behalf of the select board and apply as co-owner of the property and project to the US EDA for their grant program.
So moved.
A second.
Second question?
Yep.
No, I'm already in
All those in
favor.
favor?
Excellent.
Anybody have a question or comment about that? No? Excellent.
All right.
Next up.
Revolving fund budgets.
Yes.
This up in front of me. So revolving funds went through the budget process this year along with the general fund budgets and others. So at this point, we just need a vote from the select board to accept those budgets as proposed for fiscal year '23.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There we go. The next one is the vote to encumber funds from fiscal year '22 to fiscal year '23. This is the paving budget. So the work has just gotten started this past week. It'll be up to $450,000. We'll have yet to expend come July 1, so we're looking to encumber the funds from this year into next year so that we can fund the contract that we recently signed.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
All right, and the last one, I actually have a last minute change to this one. This is the vote to expend from trust funds. We just received the final bill from Absolute Resources, which is what Geo Insight has rebranded themselves as this past year, so same company, new name.
And that's the
We are-
pollution abatement fund?
That's the pollution abatement fund. This is what we draw down for the ongoing monitoring of the closed landfills. So that is now, instead of $15,687, as was in the memo, it's now $21,770.56 that we'll be requesting from the landfill pollution abatement fund.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the reason for such a jump in?
It depends on what testing is required that year. So some years, it's significantly less than it is in other years. This is one of the more expensive years, unfortunately. That's all the testing and reporting. They do a really fantastic job preparing those reports for DES. So, and also keep in mind that this is actually only half of the total bill. The other half of the bill is paid for by New Hampshire Revolving.
And does that ever end?
Yes. Yes, it does.
We're not this one that ends.
Yeah, we're.
I know we've discussed this before.
Yeah, so the landfill pollution abatement fund has probably about 3 years' worth of funds left in it. And then the contract with, well, the settlement agreement with New Hampshire Ball Bearing will cap at $1 million of shared expense. So that is coming up.
Maybe we can make enough benches to make a park out there. Benches
And
out there.
charge them for it? Yeah. So it'll be $21,770.56 from the landfill pollution abatement fund, $1,060.34 from the reclamation capital reserve fund for tire recycling. And Chief Gennard is also requesting to use $23,500 from the police department fleet management capital reserve fund. He finally was able to locate a used truck. So very excited about that and got a good deal on it.
I'll make a motion to approve those expenditures.
I'll second it.
Anybody have anything to add? All those in favor? Aye.
God knows if the chief found it, it's cheap as you could possibly get.
And it's in great
Is it a pickup
shape.
truck or something?
Yeah, it's in great shape too. It was a cruiser for another community and they really did a nice job keeping it up, so. Works out very well for us. We'll have that for years.
Speaking of recycling, we authorized a glass crushing equipment for the recycling center, right?
Yes.
Now, are we gonna sell that material as we crush it, or do we give it away?
We can, it's clean fill. You'll probably not be able to sell it, but you certainly be able to use it and give it to others for use, which prevents us from having to pay to get rid of it.
Yes.
All good
that's
things.
kind of nice.
Would,
You could fill in sewer lagoons with it too, right?
Can do that as well. All sorts of things you can do with it.
They still haven't called me to come out and try that thing out.
I don't think we've gotten it yet.
Oh, well, that's all right then. They do
Well, it
like
wouldn't be
that.
purchased until next fiscal year, right?
I believe we've already approved it for this fiscal year because it's coming out of fund.
Oh,
Not entirely sure though.
Okay.
Maybe it's just maybe we've just ordered it so that we'll have it for.
by the time we take the possession.
Next, the donation for Bocelli Garden. The daughters of Mafalda Ames Bocelli have donated, gotten together, pooled some cash, and would like to donate to the town $2,000 to be used towards the planting of perennials in Bocelli Garden. They've gone back and forth a little bit with the Parks Committee, and everyone is enthusiastic about the Parks Committee's plans for the use of those funds. So with the Select Board's permission, I'd like to add this to the public hearing that we're going to have to accept gifts and donations, since this is a donation. And we'll do that again later this summer.
Excellent.
Who's the chair of that committee?
Maud Odgers,
So Maud is the
Yep.
chair?
de facto leader of the.
And this is the gardens just below the Post and Beanie, right?
Yes.
That's a beautiful garden.
Yeah, it was the location of the home.
There's another one, I don't know if we can add it because it hasn't been formally requested yet, but some people that I know, Rob and Pam Nation Ames, their son Adam was instrumental in getting the skate park started years ago. He was tragically killed in a car accident a bunch of years ago, and they want to have probably Peterborough and Marlborough in granite, fashion a granite bench to look like a skateboard and donate it to the town to be put next to the skate park.
Yep.
And you talked to Lisa.
Just talked to Lisa this morning
Right,
about it.
yeah,
I
they
think
just
it's a great
reached out.
idea. Just waiting for some, memo or some minutes from the Recreation Committee, and we'll add that to the same public hearing.
Okay,
Comes
That'd be
in
great.
time, yep.
Very nice.
all right, great.
Oh, well, I know, we all realize what a wonderful place this is to live, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Maud and Terry unloading flowers the other day from their car early morning. Just, everybody's so nice about fixing the place up. Great. Okay.
Yeah, that garden club is really quite instrumental.
We even have someone kind
They're always
of
down there.
Yeah.
to try and get a permit to hold a raffle in this town.
Yes.
Unheard of before.
No smoky backroom gambling here. It's all above board.
Yeah, right, it's all above board, we don't hide it.
Well, if it was smoky backroom gambling, they wouldn't be applying for a permit. They'd just be doing it.
Exactly.
So the Peterborough Unitarian Universalist Church would like to hold a raffle to benefit a nonprofit. Oh, wait, they're the nonprofit that's going to be
Yes.
benefiting from the
Yes.
raffle. Jill, are you here to speak on this?
Well,
Or
if I need to, but
Uh,
I hope it was all self-explanatory. Paperwork.
I got it.
It's, yeah, I get it.
Think of it. Boeuf bourguignon in Paris, or tagine in Morocco, or sushi in Tokyo.
Those are the prizes?
Yes. Up to $5,000 toward airplane tickets for 2, lodging for 2 nights, and 2 dinners, anywhere in the world.
Wow. Sounds like you're expecting a big turnout for that.
Well, we're limiting it to 1,000 tickets
Hmm.
at $20 a ticket.
And is there just one winner?
Yes. Well, I mean, they get to take a +1.
Right.
So, yeah, very nice.
Cool. So
Well,
what do we have to do?
I'd make a motion to approve that permit.
Boy, I'll second that.
Is there a limit to how many one person can buy?
No.
Will you let us know when that's
Yes,
starting?
we're planning on doing the sales, Independence Day to Labor Day, essentially, July 1 to September 6th. And we'll have the drawing on September 11th.
Cool.
I mean, it does seem far to go for dinner. Do you have to go to Japan for sushi?
No, if you want to propose something more domestic, we would even be open to, if you wanted to have a family reunion and fly people in and have a big clam bake for everybody, you could do that. But, I mean, if you read all the fine print, we would be open to other suggestions.
Cool.
But it's along those lines.
Excellent.
That's great.
Okay.
So we just approved that, or did I only make a motion?
You made a motion, we can.
I seconded it.
Any further discussion? Would anybody like to vote against this? All those in favor?
Aye.
That's excellent. Speaking of nonprofit organizations, I think at 5 PM tonight, New Hampshire Gives started. So
Yes.
everybody's involved with charitable organizations. So anybody watching right now, hopefully one of your screens open is for NH Gives.
Was just actually talking to Carol Cleary, one of the 2 or 3 in charge of and 68 hours of hunger. She's like, that's tonight, goodbye.
Yeah. Yes. All right. And then we had minutes for May 17th of this very year.
I would love to make a motion that we approve those minutes.
I'll second that. Thank you, Alan. Excellent. Now, we've only used up 39 minutes.
We probably, well, do we want to hold off on approving that final approval there?
No, I don't do that.
Okay, but we still need
Anything
all in
else?
favor, don't we?
Andy?
Can I just ask a question? I mean, there wasn't really an opportunity during the encumbering of the $450,000 for the paving. So I know that was, you said for contracts that have yet to start from this past year.
No, it's the ones that we've just started.
Or just started,
Just
sorry. you're right,
started,
Just
yeah.
started. So are we in contracts for the current year, like the upcoming year too? Like, are we just doubling up in this fiscal year upcoming? Or did the work just get put off because of COVID? Or what was the reason for just starting the contracts now?
Yep, the work got put off for a couple of reasons. One really was just that it was getting busy at the end of last summer, and so we decided to hold off until the spring to start the work. But we're doing work on High Street, we've already started, Sand Hill Road, East Hill Road, Arundel, hopefully Cheney, East Hill Road, Arundel, and there was one other I'm trying to remember. And we're going to be looking at Old Dublin, portion of Old Dublin Road, and there was one other, I'm trying to remember what it was.
Pond Street better be on that list.
Pine Street is, as you
That
know,
got
we
pushed
just did
back.
the culvert, so we're doing that. Pine Street's for the upcoming year, so that's going to be the FY '23 work that will start probably next spring, would be my guess. But we've got the culvert work that really needs to get done first. So
Yeah,
that's
Seth
gonna
was
be
telling me that possibly could do other pond.
possible.
That would be nice. I mean, it's full of potholes right now. It's
Possible.
probably, it's much worse than Cheney,
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. There's gonna be some rivalry going
Yeah.
on here pretty soon, I gotta tell you.
Well, that
Changing's
work
not a
is,
full redo, right? That's
no,
all.
it's not. It's just like crack seal and stuff like
Oh,
that.
okay.
It's not major work. I mean, the big work is definitely elsewhere.
So the ones that already started in this fiscal year aren't being paid out of this fiscal year's budget? It's all being encumbered to next year, or?
It is, well, it's being paid out of this fiscal year's budget, but because the work's only just starting, we're not expecting to get the first invoice until after July 1. So you have to carry the money forward into
All
the,
that work without any money, that's insane.
they've got a lot, they do a
Just say the road's
lot.
already done, so,
Yeah.
it's done last week, yeah.
They've got plenty of money for startup.
Okay.
So I don't think that's the issue. Asphalt's a really big company.
Yeah, no, I just wasn't sure that's how it worked, so that's interesting, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, we've already done the work, we gotta pay them.
They're starting the work, so it's not done yet, so but they bill us monthly. So they'll send us an invoice after, at the end of June.
And there's still planned work for all of the 450,000, like for each year going forward, and we've still got that whole plan is still on track?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for asking that, because all the people watching right now on those streets are jumping for joy.
Like I said, Sand Hill Road's already done.
All right, anybody else? Anything else?
We didn't do any sort of all in favor for Ally's minutes.
All those in favor?
Just, yeah.
Oh, we didn't approve it,
We did a motion and a
Sorry,
second.
keeping this.
I tried to stop Mandy first, but the train just got off.
I thought you were stalling so that we hadn't gotten to
Yeah.
37 minutes,
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah.
That helped us out.
Well, let's beat it by 5 minutes. Motion to,
What?
what?
Did we do we didn't do the appointments yet?
Oh,
For
that's
the-
right.
That's right.
What thought we did?
Oh, nope,
Nope.
skip right over that. Sorry.
This is why Ally's in charge.
I would make a motion to reappoint James Kelly, Sarah Steinberg Heller, and Beth Alpocote to the Master Plan Steering Committee, seeing as how I was their liaison, present at their meeting when they all signed up again.
That's kind of.
All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Great. More volunteers, more good for the town.
We had a pretty good run with volunteers lately and new people joining.
Yeah.
So 2 minutes to spare.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.